In the video with David Morrison regarding white privilege, the speaker's definition of a privileged person is that person has something that another person wants, and he states that to be able to do anything is a privilege. The speaker does a great job explaining this throughout his speech by giving us a personal timeline of his life and by using the credibility of a privileged person throughout his life and showing logos with the what-if statements throughout his life. The only thing I would have to disagree on with this speaker is that just because somebody wants something that somebody else has does not make the person that already has the object a privileged person. The saying comes to mind, beggars can be choosers, when thinking about this, because you can either be the person and do something about it and become the person that picks and chooses, or do nothing at all and stay the person that becomes the beggar and wondering why the person has something that you don't have. And to me, a privileged person is someone who feels entitled to anything just because of their skin color, their reputation, or even based off their financial status. For example, someone, let's say, who yells at their waiter because they're not doing a good job or like not bringing their food out on time or fast because it's their meal and that they're paying for it, because they feel more privileged than the person because they're not doing their job. They feel more entitled because they feel more dominant. Or nowadays, people call mothers who don't get their way Karens because they throw a fit to anything that doesn't please them or to what I just said, go in their way. Also, everyone doesn't have the opportunity or the privilege to do certain things that other people are already doing in life. And it really does matter where you grow up and how you overcome obstacles that have been placed throughout your life. For example, you could be a rehab patient. There are patients who go to rehab, do the full programs, and do all the medical treatments to make themselves better, and they end up getting jobs. Then there are those who relapse and go back and wondering why that they aren't in the same place that the other patients were in. Does that make the patients who did better more privileged than the patients who didn't? No, that's just because they did something to turn their lives around and actually listen and do what was right. Anyone may feel entitled when he or she sees an equal getting something that they have not yet received. And just because that person has received something that you have not, does not make them a privileged person at all. That just means that they probably either worked for it or there's something behind it. So I mean, if you could afford to do something that it wouldn't harm anyone or because you could, isn't that your privilege to do so?